So one of the first things I wanted to show you guys today that I spotted are these little mushrooms on the mulch here, and that's a really good sign. We've got some good fungal life happening on these wood chips, which is fantastic. We'll talk more about that in class. If you can see little flower buds in the chives, those are getting ready to flower. We'll have some beautiful purple flowers very soon, and the flowers on chives are edible also. We have a very healthy patch of stinging nettles in this area. Those are looking really nice. Oh, in the back over there, if you see these yellow flowers, those look like, yep, those are a woodland poppy. Got some, let's see, sneaking around the back. Yep, I thought I saw them. There is a garlic mustard right there with the white flowers, so we'll want to pull that out, partly because it's invasive and we don't want it spreading, especially now that it's flowering. We don't want it to go to seed and spread more around. They are edible, so we'll pull that and eat it, nice and tasty. This is a honeyberry, which you can see is flowering. Some flowers in there. That will give us nice oblong blueberry type fruit that are very tasty. And you can see right behind it is our swale area with the rain garden. There is some water in it since we had rain just in the last couple of days. So we're catching that, spreading it out all the way through this section and letting it soak in and sink onto either side. You see how the ground is a little bit higher on either side. It's a bit of a berm, especially to the downhill, the downslope side. We want to catch all that water and keep it here. We have nice blooms on our pear tree, which is great. Right here we have some sage coming up. Looks like it had a bit of damage from rabbits over the winter. That's these spots where you can tell that it was chewed off on a lot of these branches, but it's okay, it's coming back nicely. You can see all the green coming up in the center. So it's okay, they just helped us prune it. They didn't kill it, they didn't take it out. Oh, this is a wild carrot, Queen Anne's lace. This is the nannyberry bush that I showed last month. And if you can see, these are getting ready to flower, which then of course will be fruit. This is a high bush cranberry, another viburnum, which is also getting ready to flower. Underneath the cranberry bush, you can see we've got some hostas coming up, which are also edible when they're young and first sprouting up. They do well in the shade. And this over here with all these yellow flowers, this is what I was telling you guys about last month that I was so excited about. It's one of my favorites. This is the Crandall's Clove Currant. So these flowers are just starting to open. In another few days, as more of them are open, we'll have the fragrance in the air is really strong. It's really a nice smell. It's different from a lot of other plants. It's not real heavily floral. It's a bit spicy. It's got that clove scent to it. It's really cool. This is a serviceberry blooming. In this section here at the low end of, you've kind of got the curve here. You know, you go over the bridge and then over the bridge again because you're crossing the two sides of this swale here. At this end down here, as the water follows around this curve, this part just to the left of it, where I'm looking, is a little bit of a low area that helps soak in and collect some of that water. So we've got a lot of our rain garden plants growing here, and this is where the elderberry patch is, and the pawpaw, they like that type of a damp area. So you can see the elderberry is leafing out a lot more than it was just a few weeks ago. We've got a lot of bee balm coming up here. It's a lot bigger than it was just a few weeks ago. Here's some comfrey. We've got iris in there. And soon you'll see a lot more rain garden plants popping up. We have a lot of mallow that grows over in this area. Of course, we have our willow over here with the structure. On this clematis vine, you can see there are little hanging flower buds. Those will open soon. The rhubarb is getting bigger compared to the size it was it about 3 weeks ago, the time I took the last video. So these are getting quite a bit larger. You can see we've got some good stalks in there that are pretty much, I mean, these are getting to be a good size. Those should be ready for harvest anytime. There are some of the hops vines, and those are pretty happy too and reaching for the sky. This is a Red Haven peach that I don't remember being leafed out yet the last time I was here. Of course, there's some comfrey towards the bottom surrounding the base of the tree. There's some yarrow. What else do we have over here? Some currants, more comfrey. And this looks like a catmint. There's quite a bit of goldenrod coming up, which is great nectar for butterflies. So this just struck me as a bit funny. You see the elderberry patch over there. And as I was walking along the path, along the swale and the rain garden area, I came across this little guy way over here. That's a little elderberry who has volunteered to plant himself over in this area of the garden. Follow that bumblebee. I'm not sure if you saw him, but check out what's growing over here. We've got violets. See if we can you hear the buzzing? There are happy bees all over this bush. Here we've got another nice section of mushrooms growing. Even if they're not edible mushrooms, it's still really nice to see that. It's a good sign. A lot of times people associate mushrooms with something negative, like maybe a mold or something that is wrong with their soil, and it's actually quite the opposite. This, especially in a forest garden, when we've got a woody, fungal type of environment, that's a really good sign. Here we have serviceberries blooming in our fedge, which is a food hedge. And we've got hazelnuts and comfrey. There's honeyberry. It's also blooming. I'll get a closer look at that in a minute. And serviceberry. And then coming back this way, we've got a little peach tree with blooms on it. Look how pretty these are. This is a contender peach, which does well in our climate, our area. Here's what the cornelian cherry looks like. Compared to a few weeks ago, it has fewer flowers. The flowers are fading and the leaves are filling out. Over here, we'll get a closer look at the honeyberry again. This one has blooms on it. See if I can get through the wire here. It's protecting it from the deer. You can see we've got some flowers on here, lots of blooms that are getting ready to open. And next to that, we have another serviceberry. Since I'm down closer toward the bottom of the garden now, I'm going to see if I can get another view quickly from this viewpoint to show you the overall view of what the garden is looking like right now as things are coming to life. these different varieties right here. They look so pretty all together. And then with it, we've got tansy. And there are rugosa roses behind, and comfrey, and a peach tree. More of these beautiful pink flowers. And the beautiful cloud house in the background. I think all these mushrooms are my favorite surprise of the day. Not really surprise, but just, you know, every time you walk out to the garden, something new is coming up, so it's all kind of a surprise. You always get to see something different every time you're here. Look at these. Beautiful.